Alright, we're live because I can't stay too much today since we got Dungeons and Dragons. I know many of you are watching that, so it's going to be starting in 1 hour. Everyone confirmed that they're going to be there, so it's actually going to happen. There's no delays or anything, unless my internet goes down or someone else's internet goes down, of course. But I don't think that's the case. So yeah, welcome to the show. We're going to be talking about one of the most dumb things that I have ever seen, and it annoys me that people lecture me. Like, people lecture me on the forums, telling me, well, actually, listen, if you can't afford to tip, then don't eat. How about you shut the fuck up, okay? How about I eat whatever I want, and I will look you in the eye as I do not tip. I will give you the look of spite, the look of disdain. I will put you in your place, and I will spit with sunflower seeds at your feet, and I will not tip, because you do not deserve my tip, okay? I paid for the service. I paid what is on the bill. There is absolutely no reason why you should deserve any extra money for me, okay? Like, I have gone to various restaurants. This isn't like the 1920s anymore, where like you go to a posh restaurant and it's like, oh, they have a waiter, and like, no, there's waiters everywhere, right? So unless you suck my cock, you are not doing a job which is better than another waiter. Like what is even like this whole thing? Good service? What the fuck does it mean? Chat, explain to me. What is good service? You have a waiter, it takes your order, it brings the food. It's not that complicated, okay? Unless it's like a 3-star Michelin restaurant where the food comes with a story and you're ordering it and they're telling you like, okay, this is a pheasant. This pheasant is one of the 5,000 specimens in the world, and let me tell you how it got cooked. Right? In that case, okay, fine, I get it. I get it. But most of the time, like, you go and you order a pizza, and there's like some bitch that comes up and it's like, okay, what do you want to order? A pizza. Great. Which one? This one. Perfect. And after 30 minutes, she comes there, she brings it to you. Why would you have to pay extra for that? I got that off my chest. You can see that I've been holding it up for a long while, right? I just want to show you, okay, just how bad things are getting, alright? Because a lot of Europeans don't know the American pain. I like to call this, unironically, this right here, chat, is the American pain. So look at the American pain. You have like this individual, and man refusing to tip servers, and they shouldn't get 25% for the job. This is national news now. It's like, extra, read all about it. This man did not pay a tip. Oh, there's me. You know, you have people in Chicago, right? In Chicago or in San Francisco robbing stores in front of the governor. Like Newsom yesterday was like, oh my God, like someone went in and he just took it. He just took it. And I wondered, it's like, why do I have to pay for it? And he just takes it. Right? So like you have actual criminals that steal shit. That's not national news. National news is that someone went and did not tip. The horror, the damage to the family. It's almost like he's a racist. They're like one step closer of calling them a racist. You know, it's oh my fucking God. Anyway, so just so you understand why I'm spreading out. Thank you, subject change. Here's a tip fee. Service today was incredible, but you're putting me on the spot right now. You're putting me in a difficult situation. You have it. Anyway, right. So here we go. I'm not against tipping, but in America, like, it's getting so bad that there are TikTok videos with drivers from various companies like Uber Eats and many like that, and you have to tip them before they bring you the food, chat. Before they bring you the food. What? Noah, what the fuck is that? Like, you don't even know the service. You don't know the quality of the service. Like you order food, and before they even bring it to you, you have to tip. And if you don't tip, they don't bring you the food, or they bring you cold food, or they spit on it. It's like, wait, hold on a little bit. And then you look at America, right? So, if you go out, you gotta tip. okay, fine. You know, you go to the restaurant, you give a tip. All right. But the thing is, you have people that now want you to tip the driver, right? So you want to eat at home? No, you still have to pay the driver. So in many cases, you tip the restaurant when you order. You tip the driver when it brings you the food home. You tip it before it even brings you the fucking food. And here's another joke. There are many places like fast food services and shit where you don't even get a waiter. You don't even get a waiter, but they have like a tip box. So when you go and you do the touch screen, you do the clickety-clack on the touch screen, right? You do the touchpad and shit. And they want you to tip for that. Like, you're tipping what? What are you tipping? Here's a tip to calm me down. It needs to be a bigger tip. But the thing is, like, when you super chat a YouTuber, it's not a tip. Like, this is literally my income, okay? If waiters didn't get any pay whatsoever, I would understand. But like, when I do live streaming, this is how I make money, so... Alright, we're back. OBS disconnected. So as I was saying, I'm the guy playing the piano with the Chinese spies behind me, trying to use woke ideology in order to get me canceled. And trying to file various complaints on YouTube because they're... I'm that guy. I'm the guy playing the piano, right? Like, tipping the guy playing the piano is fine. But I don't understand why you need to tip the Uber driver before he brings you the food. Right? Like, how does that work? So, anyway, yeah, the internet can't handle my rant. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, the people benefiting from this tipping culture are the corporations, right? Because you get to pay your waiter less knowing that the customer will forward their bill. So if you're a greedy company, like if you're a restaurant or something, by paying your staff less, you're expecting that the customer is going to pay for the waiter. So the customer pays for the food, and on top of that, it pays for the waiter. This is not okay. I do want to chip Abdi Muhammad. I would appreciate it, yes. And then it's like, pre-tipping isn't a tip either, right? Like, people say it's buying priority. It's not even that. Like it's a tip when it's optional. But at this point, people are being forced to tip. It is required to tip. So everything in the United States that is part of the service industry just got 25% extra. A lot of Europeans don't understand this and they're laughing because like they're applying European logic to tipping, right? Because here in Romania, tipping isn't a big problem. It's like, whether you want to tip or not, that's fine. Like, it's okay, right? But in the United States, you guys don't know how bad it is. I saw the horror stories, okay? Like, I went on Twitter and I'm looking at it, and it's like going in the campfire at night and listening to horror stories. Like, Americans will understand. People that give me, like, all sorts of tips with arse in it, you don't live in America. I'm just telling you, you don't know how bad it is. The granny that brought this stream is against tipping as mandatory, which is based. It is true, though. It is true, like, tipping shouldn't be mandatory. And I don't understand why you should tip anyway. It's like, what is this, like, excellent service? All service should be excellent. Why should some service be better than other? I like, the only time you should tip is if the person doesn't get a wage. So, like, if it's a musician at the corner of a street, if it's like a street magician, a mime, you know, like someone that actually does something, and he's got like a hat over there so that people can put some money in the hat. That is different. That is different. We're not talking about that, right? Like, when you go to a business that employs people, I don't understand why they should get tipped. I genuinely don't. DoorDash never should have called it a tip. They should have called it a bid. You are bidding on the drivers to get your food. Yeah, so like DoorDash, it's called. And let me show you what they're doing, right? So like DoorDash. DoorDash tip culture, I think, should be, yeah. Yeah, people on Reddit are saying that the tip culture of DoorDash is toxic, right? So listen to this. Normal tipping culture is 15% of each meal, 20% for outstanding service. So even this whole thing, it's like 15% of each meal. Why though? Why is it 15% of each meal? Like, why is everything going up in price by 15%? Anyway, if I ordered enough to active my DoorDash, which is $15 my driver is looking at a $3 tip. But wait, $3 plus $2 base pay, not enough. Most say that you won't take an order under $7, right? So like, it's literally bidding for food at this point. They call it a tip, but it's bidding for food. It's like an auction, right? Like, America is becoming so poor that people are auctioning for food using apps. It's like, can I get $7 for the sandwich? No, $9, $11 for the $15 sold. This is what it's going. My fucking God. So anyway, drivers need customers to tip extra on the orders, not necessarily because it is deserved for their service. To be honest, like, more than 20% tip for every order is absurd, but because drivers are being stiffed by base pay. However, customers who have never interacted with the other side of DoorDash, the delivery side, don't know what your base pay is, and they don't know that you're not being paid enough. Yes, this is why I'm here. This is literally why I exist, okay? Jesus Christ himself anointed me. Like, I am on earth because the Lord has spoken to me in dreams and said, V, you need to warn them. V, you need to tell them. The reason that this tipping culture exists, and the reason that it will continue existing, is for two main issues. The first one is that the companies do not pay their staff, okay? The companies expect the peasants, they expect the plebs, they expect the pay piggies to pay the staff. And the second reason is that you have enough individuals, usually from the corporate environment, who are like, oh, wait, I'm so poor, you do not have money to... And like, these people don't understand. It's not about the money, it's about the principle, right? Why is the company not paying their workers? I pay my fucking workers. I pay my artists and my game developers. Why can't they? That's the issue. God. Anyway, so they're basically saying that I guarantee to you that most customers who use DoorDash think that adding $2 or $3 on top is plenty for a tip, because they think you're being paid regular wages. And again, be honest, I'm sure that there are injustices in the world, but these customers just don't know. When I order from DoorDash, I always order the minimum because I rarely want more than one item. So my 20% tips are normal, between $2 and $4. These are essentially low tips to y'all. Let's stop pretending that the customers are being too cheap to pay you guys for the service and shift to DoorDash. Yeah. It's kind of like, again, most people are using the old mentality of tipping, which is that, oh, you know, you go out, you enjoy like a nice meal, so you should tip. And if you don't tip, you're a cheapskate. The new correct mentality is that companies aren't paying people, and they want you to pay their wages. They want you to, number one, like, pay the normal price for food, which goes into the pockets of the company, and then they want you to also pay extra, right? Like they want slave wages, pretty much, that are being paid by someone else. The customer shouldn't be expected to subsidize workers just because the employees. Yeah, and you know, like, because I have a rant in order to be comedic, and I scream, and I make a show because it should be entertaining and funny. People don't take what I say seriously. They don't think about it. They just think that, oh, V, you're not the one tipping. No, I do tip, right? In Romania, I do tip. It depends, though. It really depends. Like sometimes I tip, sometimes I don't tip. It depends if I have spare change in my pocket. It depends if the service was good. But I'm not talking about that, right? Like, the thing that's happening in the United States is completely different than the thing that's happening in Europe. So you need to take that into account. American Outlier, V, DoorDash is really toxic. Well, yeah, I mean, if Reddit calls it toxic, it must be so. I used a couple of times, and when I tipped the minimum, and if the order has a drink, the guy took the drink as my compensation. What the fuck? I stopped. Dude, I keep seeing Americans, like, describing to me the thing. It's like, okay, so, like, I had this guy And he was like my Uber driver, sorry, my Uber Eats driver or my DoorDash or whatever, and he took my food. I want you to understand, my Romanian brain doesn't understand this. I'm not kidding. Like, this just doesn't happen in my country. In the capital city, as well as many other major cities of Romania, we do not have this thing. There are no cases that I have ever heard about where the driver gets to take your food. I'm not saying, like, maybe it does happen, but I assume that the person gets fired so fast that people don't get to hear about it. Like, that, there is no such thing. And I have heard it so many times that it's happening in America. It's ridiculous. Like, there was a video with a guy that had, like, a camera on his door. Like, that's another thing. We don't have those in Romania. Like, people don't have, like, cameras every fucking where, like, in America. It just goes to show that it's a more dangerous society, right? Like, if you live in a place where it's safe and crime never happens, like, putting a camera on your house, it's kind of like wasted money, you know? But anyway, right, so we never had, like, the situation where someone, like, would go into your shopping bag and take away the food that you ordered. It's so fucking bizarre. The way that it's done, right? So, like, if I order food or if I order anything, the driver waits there and we look together to see if everything is there, and only once everything is there does the driver leave. I don't know if people do that in America. I see in America, like, they just go to the house, they put the shopping bag there, and then they leave. It's like, no. My sister makes more money at her server job from tips than her desk job, so there is the incentive as well. Look, I get it, you know, like, I'm not saying tips shouldn't exist, but what I'm saying is, like, if someone wants to tip, they should. If someone doesn't want to tip, they shouldn't. There shouldn't be, like, this pressure. And then you have, like, every single business now accepting tips. So you have, okay, you have the waiters, they get tips. You have the taxi driver, they get tips. The Uber drivers, they get tips. The hairstylists, they get tips. It's like everything gets tips now? Everything gets tips? Why, though? The fucking funny artists get tips. And, you know, it's like... Yeah, the thing is, like, tips should be optional, but... Yeah, Amazon wants tips. Everyone wants fucking tips. Which is fine, you know? Like, if tips are optional, that's fine. But, like, when everything is mandatory, then you're basically saying that life should become 15% more expensive. Because they're not lowering the cost of the main product. They're not being like, okay, so we as a restaurant, because now we don't have to pay our staff because they're getting money from tips, we can lower the price of food by 50%. No. And again, take into account that many of these places, they already fire employees and they're using these touchscreen things, you know, these robots, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to use these instead, but you still gotta tip us. Like, there's still a box where you can tip. Yeah, the Amazon self-checkout asks for tips. Yeah. But there have been, like, fast food. I have seen fast food joints that have absolutely no staff. And it is just, like, touch screens, and in the kitchen they have a robot. And I think it's, like, one person that just, like, on the entire place, and just takes, like, the bag of food that the robot gives you and puts it on the tray, right? And they want tips as well. And there's, like, no human interaction whatsoever. There's nothing. And, like, why, though? Why would you tip in that situation? How do you justify it? Are taxes tips? No, but tips are taxable in some places. It's how greedy the government is. I think, like, this is where it all started. I swear to God, behind every tragedy, there is a smiling government official. Probably Democrat. But think about it, right? This whole shit started when the government said, well, since we can't verify how much tips you're getting, we're just going to put, like, a flat tax on tips. So now when you have individuals, like you have waiters and you have other people, and they cannot make the amount of money required for the tax, they start complaining, and they're like, oh, well, if you can't pay tip, then don't eat out, etc., etc. Um, we provide great chat service. Tip us, yeah. Tips are always taxable. They are taxable, but good luck proving how much tips someone got. That's the problem that the government was facing. Because in the beginning, yeah, like tips are taxable, but like you don't get a receipt for tips, right? Like no one is like, oh, hold on, let me cut you a receipt for the $2, right? So what ends up happening, is that people would just get the tip for So the government would look at it and they would be like, okay, well, since we can't actually know how much tip you're getting, this is the average that we believe a restaurant of your size is making in tips. So we want you to give us this amount of tax every month, regardless if you make the money or not. And the idea was, if you make more than that, you don't pay taxes for that. If you make less than that, then you pay taxes. So yeah. What? Someone said D&D? I'll fuck them up. I'll fuck them up. If it's D&D, I will fuck them up. They said that it's going to be 30 minutes later today. So if they come up now and it's like, V, it's D&D, we're starting, I'll be like, I don't fucking care. You just tell me 9:30, it's going to be 9 fucking 30. It's not going to be 9 and 20. It's not going to be 9 and 10. Definitely not going to be 9. It's going to be 9:30. I'll fuck you up. But God, I need to do my stream. Holy shit. All of these responsibilities. But anyway, right. Am I late? Tell them that they said we're going to play at 9:30. Pay the staff and don't charge tips. There are businesses that actually do that. But I'll tell you something else, chat. I will tell you something else that you don't know. Did you know that there are businesses that not only charge for tips, but chat, they take the money away from the waiters. Did you know that? Now, to be fair, there are several ways of doing it. So I know that, for instance, in Romania, it is customary that at a restaurant, the tips get shared with the cook, which is interesting, right? So, like, at the end of the day, the waitresses and everyone else, they pull all the money together. It's like, okay, this is how much tips we made today. And then they share it equally with the staff. There are places where the managers take the tips. I think like this was a scandal with Amy's Bakery, like she called Chef Ramsay's, right? But it depends from restaurant to restaurant. In Romania, it's very rare that the waiter gets to keep all the tips. He has to share them with the cook. Yeah. I don't know if it's the same in the United States, though. And so that one in Kitchen Nightmares, yeah. It was something that actually shocked everyone. They couldn't believe it. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean that people, that the managers get to keep the tip? It's like, yeah. V, super chats are tips. Prove me wrong. They are tips, but again, like, I'm not against tipping as a thing. I'm against forcing people to tip. Like, if I was to force everyone in the chat now to give me a super chat, you end up being like that $5 a month. How can you have hours of your time and not $5, right? Like that is how you come off when you're like tipping is mandatory. That is like the tipping is mandatory level, and I hate it. I think it's disgusting. Breaking: 150 Democrats vote against the bill to deport illegals caught driving while drunk. I mean, why would you give away these productive members of the community? I mean, these are very important individuals for the well-functioning and the health of a nation. They contribute a lot. It's part of the diversity, right? Like, you need diverse people. Some people have to be law-abiding. Other people drive while drunk. And of course, the Democrats don't want them to be kicked out. I mean, they need those people. They're very important. Imagine having a neighborhood without people driving while... That's unthinkable. At that point, can you even say it's American? No, it's not American. By the way, is it just me, or are the Democrats the party of criminals? Like when is it going to just come out and just say it? It's like, yes, if you're a criminal, the Democrats will represent you. Think about it this way. Like, imagine if Don Corleone, right? Don Corleone manages to get into office, and he is now in power. What can he do in order to increase crime more than it already is? Like what laws can they pass? I mean, you look at San Francisco, and they're already saying, oh, if you steal less than $950, it's a misdemeanor. Like, the only thing left would be to, like, completely decriminalize theft, but then you cause, like, unnecessary competition for the thieves, right? So, like, you need to think about it, like, if you're representing the interest of the thief, you still need to have a law so that people don't steal, right? Because then, like, the thief has so much competition that he won't have anything left to steal. So no, like, making it a misdemeanor is perfect. $1,000 is also, like, a good area. To be fair, like, they need to make now stealing $2,000 worth of good is a misdemeanor, because they have to adjust for inflation and Bidenomics. It's going to get to the point where the police officer is going to arrest a criminal, and he's going to slip a $500 bill in his pocket just so it can be from a misdemeanor to a crime. You know, like you have in South Park and in many other American movies where the police officer is planting the pot. You know, he is planting la cocaína into the pockets of the criminal in order to get him in trouble with the law. Well, now you're going to have the cop, like, planting the $500 bill. He's going to, like, try to sneak in the $500 bill into the pockets of the criminal and say, look, see, you stole more than $950. No, sorry, the $50 bill. Yeah, like, all the cops are going to be armed with $50 bills, and whenever they catch someone, whenever they catch a criminal stealing, they will slip in the $50 in his pocket. They're like, see? 950 with this and 50 with that. You stole $1,000, therefore, you're a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a misdemeanor. Stand by your fellow booze cruisers. Booze cruisers. That's why we're calling us now? You know, like, okay, so for those of you who don't know, my main video for today, I haven't released it yet, but I will. It's about the governor of California, Mr. Newsom. And Mr. Newsom is basically saying, what did he say? All right, I remember what he said. He said that he went to a shop, right? He went to a supermarket, and he was shocked to see that someone stole something. And he was also shocked to see that no one was doing anything. And he was wondering, it's like, why do I pay for stuff and that person steals, right? So, the solution is very simple. Like, if Governor Newsom thinks that this is a problem, I can fix it immediately, right? All I would need is a couple of hundreds, thousands of dollars. Not that much. Just a couple of $100,000 to get my business started, right? Preferably $1 million. With $1 million, I can solve the problem of crime in San Francisco. Chat, do you believe that I can? Can I solve the problem of crime with $1 million in San Francisco? I will tell you how. I mean, not all the crime, just the shoplifting. You would hire security guards, and you would give them batons and pepper spray. All right, like that. That's all they need. They don't need anything more. And teach them how to use reasonable force. Again, batons and pepper spray, right? And I want the governor to allow people to use these, right? Baton and pepper spray. Once it gets popular with one store, more stores will want it. And eventually, crime will go down. I guarantee to you, the moment the TikTok videos come up with 3 bodyguards that are applying pressure, they're applying a correction on the misguided young man. He doesn't need to go to prison. Why should he go to prison and risk his life? No. Just like within the store, the correction is getting applied, right? And you have like the TikTok videos. You need like 2 or 3 of them, and I guarantee to you, crime level just plummets, just all the way down. I would just need like a carte blanche from the governor. Like the governor would have to say, look, in the case that you catch someone or in the act, you are allowed to apply a correction, and that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. You don't need anything more. You know, it's like at that point the security guard becomes the daddy. You don't have a daddy at home to teach it. That's fine. The security guard will just use some of his time in order to apply the lesson of life to you, to keep you from going to prison, right? Because like you don't want to commit crime and then end up in the penitentiary. No, like that's not needed. That's not needed. A couple of batons on your ass. You got a couple of bruises on your ass, and that's it. You're never going to steal again. V doesn't understand laws involving private property versus public property. User, you don't understand what I said. I need a carte blanche from the governor, okay? Like, the governor would have to pass legislation to allow me to do this. In an exchange, he would have the crime level plummeting, okay? That's it. That's what he would need. Just to allow me to do this. Just pass legislation where I can have a couple of guys that are trained in the use of force, and it should be legal. Right there and then. Emperor Nasium is surprised that crime increased. Yes, Emperor Newsom is shocked that crime is... He doesn't understand why. He wanted to speak with the manager. I'm not even kidding. Like the person that he was talking to didn't realize that he's the governor. And the person that he was talking to was like, well, the government doesn't allow us to arrest these people. And he was like, what do you mean? It's like, no, it's a crime. Blah, 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 blah. I want to speak with the manager. You're opening civil rights lawsuits against the state. Well, look, man. I don't know anything more. That's the state's problem. At that point, it's the government's problem. All I'm saying is how I would fix the issue. Okay? If you created yourself such legislation that the simple solution that I come up with is too problematic, I mean, that's on you. To be honest, as a criminal, if I was a criminal, I would actually prefer this. Like, think about it, right? Even if I was the family of the criminal. Like, your options is, number 8, you go to prison, 5 years of your life, you risk 5 years of your life, you know, the taxpayer has to pay money, it's horrible, right? Or, you get an ass whooping from a security guard. Professional. Legal, right? Nice. You get the ass whooping, you go home. Which one do you prefer? I prefer the ass whooping, and I guarantee to you, you get 2 ass whoopings, you're never going to steal again. He would lose the next election. I don't know, man. I don't know, because I've noticed that a lot of supermarkets are leaving, and the Democrats are like, oh my God, that is racismus, racismus. Food deserts. Like the supermarkets are leaving because they do not want the money. They are racist. And it's like, no. They're leaving because too high crime, right? So the people in that area... They don't like the fact that the crime is increasing. But let's put it this way. Do you honestly want me to believe that California now would ever vote Republican? There is nothing that the governor can do that would make him lose an election. Like, he can do literally anything he wants to. There is absolutely anything whatsoever. In California now, holy shit. There is nothing that Mr. Newsom can do that would make him lose an election. Am I wrong though? V has the mind of a criminal. Look, man, all I'm saying is that extreme problems require extremist solutions. If you have like a law which is making it a misdemeanor to shoplift less than $950 worth of goods, which is almost like the minimum wage in Romania, right? Like, from one store you get your minimum wage. At that point, you do need extremist solutions. And my solution isn't even that extreme. I don't think it's extreme. I think it's more extreme to send someone to prison for 4 years. I think that is more extreme. And give them a criminal record, and then they can't find a job. Yeah, I think that's a lot more extreme than the solution that I was proposing. But think about it. No, seriously, just think about it. I know that inertia and the culture that we're in makes it sound that what I'm saying is cold and heartless. But in reality, you realize that the normal is actually the extreme. What I'm saying is a light tap. It's a love tap. It's like when society is trying to say, be better, do better, be nice. The problem is they're allowed to leave California. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I did see videos from people in Texas, like harassing individuals that had like California license plates. That's interesting to see. Newsom can always get primaried by another Democrat. I guess I suppose that is true. But will he though? Will he? I mean, look at him. You know, look, he's got that winning smile. He's got that $1 million haircut. What other Democrat can compare? But the thing is, like, it's $950 per store max. How would they know, though? It's not like, you know, when you shoplift, they get you on checkout and they say, oh, you actually stole more than... They don't know that they usually err on the side of caution, like no cop wants to risk his job, right? So it's like Are you scared with Russia, with what's going on? Why are you being so fucking vague? Let me see what's going on. The last time I checked, it was a prisoner exchange. They had the prisoner exchange last time. Ukraine claims to have sunk Russian Black Sea warship. It's a little bit of a joke, isn't it? Like this whole Russian Navy. Like how the fuck do they keep getting their ship sunks? Huh? Like from what I gather, Ukraine didn't really get that much in the way of sea technology. Like they got a lot of stuff for land, but for sea, it's like how do they keep sinking these Russian ship in the Black Sea? Russia responds to reports of U.S. planning to station nukes in the U.K. Yeah, I mean it's. Russia has egg on its face. What can I say? They lost the ship. Okay. No, I'm not worried. It's just like the forever war is going to continue. How many ships do they have? Well, like Russia? Holy shit. The interesting thing is, like, I was actually following it, you know, at the beginning of the war. Russia had the capital ship, which was like a destroyer. I forgot the name. It was like a Poseidon or a Neptune class. I don't know the classification for it. But anyway, right, they have like this ship. And it was on the shores and it was bombarding Ukrainian city. And the Ukrainians go like, okay, well, target it, right? And launch a missile at it to see what happens. And I think like they were trying to get their coordinates or something. So they fire a missile and it's like, sir, it's a hit. It's like, what the fuck do you mean it's a hit? Like, don't they have anti-missile systems? No, it's a hit. It's burning. I think like the Pentagon had to confirm it like 3 times. Like the people on the Pentagon didn't believe it. It's like, what do you mean you hit it? Yeah, we actually ended up hitting it. Like, can you check again? Like, can you please verify? There's no fucking... Yeah. So apparently like what happened is because due to the level of corruption, the Russian military, they stole from that ship. They literally took the parts away from the ship. And when it actually went to sea, like they didn't report the fact that half of it is stolen. Because, well, then you need to get someone to blame, right? Like, you need to find someone accountable. So they were saying, oh, it just happened that a fire was aboard. Yeah, sure. A fire was aboard right after the Ukrainians fired the missile at it. I mean, yeah, technically true. Sure. I saw that too, but some of those people were saying it's a rental, referring to the car with the California license plate. Well, what are you going to say? Are you going to admit you're from San Francisco? No, you're going to say it's a rental. How many trillions the Pentagon stole? Well, I guess when you have tens of trillions, you can steal a couple of trillions. But if you don't have tens of trillions, then don't fucking steal. Apparently the missile defense radar was apparently missing computer parts. Yeah. That's what I got as well. It was hilarious though. It's just like, dude, that is shameful. Again, like it was a capital ship. It's like the pride of the Russian Navy. It's like, whoa. Anyway, I'll go on Dungeons and Dragons now, because I know I would still have like 20 more minutes for the stream, but I need to go to Dungeons and Dragons and get prepared. So I will see you guys there. Arch's channel. Take care.